We usually take a few minutes and review our minutes, in this case, the July minutes for the work session and the regular meeting. And then after that, our secretary, Mary Catherine, will read the first item on the agenda, and then we would like you to come to this center lectern and give your name and address. And then if you have anything you want to add, you're welcome to do that. So now if you board members are willing, if you could give us a motion or
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
All right.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the July 2nd meeting minutes for the work session and regular meeting, raise your right hand. All right. Thank you. Okay, Madam Secretary, ready, I think.
The first item of new business is application number CER H20-001. Applicant Tim Riley requests approval to replace 2 windows at 114 Colleton Avenue Southeast. It's tax map parcel 121-29-05-005.
What reads
What does it say?
07-005.
Okay.
05.
Good catch.
Okay.
Correction. That's 121-29-07-005. Thank you, Mr. Lott.
Well, I knew you were just testing to see if I was really listening.
That's exactly right. So the applicant has requested approval to replace what could quite possibly be the 2 attic windows original to the house. They are 2 6-pane wooden single hung side hinge windows, and the proposed replacement windows would be Anderson 400 series 4/4 double hung windows of the same color and dimensions. And these would be of simulated divided light design. And the existing trim, decorative trim on the outside, will be retained. The home was constructed in approximately 1890, is known historically as Norwood, and is listed as a contributing property on the Historic Resource Survey.
Right. It's good. Thank you. It is a landmark. And now if we could have the applicant or the owner, whoever would like to come make your presentation. If you have anything you want to add,
Well,
welcome to the meeting.
thank you. My name is Pamela Thornton, and I'm owner of the house. The windows have been leaking for some while, and we've done all we can to remedy it. I mean, right now, it's stuffed with garbage bags, and I have buckets and a place for the water.
And you may not even know it's happening.
We never know when it's happening.
Right, yeah.
But we were out of town this weekend, and I was worried because before we left on Friday, the bucket was full from the rain Friday, and one particular, the east side.
Right.
But, you know, if they were fixed, we would be fine. We would seal them, even though they're rotting. We would seal them somehow and make them there. But we have to have it for ventilation. It's probably 30 to 40 degrees hotter in the attic than the rest of the house. And I don't want to get off topic, so I'm just going to read what I've written, okay?
Okay.
I said if the current attic windows were fixed in place, there would be no problem with securing them in place, sealing all points of leakage, and avoiding further breakdown of the windows themselves. We must have something that fits the space, that is both watertight and it's able to be operated, able to be opened. The windows also must coordinate the best way possible with the Dutch colonial style of the house, the current attic windows, and all of the windows of the house. All of the windows are 6-on-6, and that would have been too complicated up there in that smaller area. The water pouring in the closed windows during heavy rains is amazing. The current interior attic window sills are degrading, the attic walls beneath the window are weakening, and there's obvious evidence of water staining on the old wooden attic floor. Of course, we've had periodic ceiling damage on the second floor of the house as well. All this occurs even when plastic garbage bags are stuffed around the closed windows, especially the east one. There's a makeshift piece of metal under the window angled to divert the water coming into a large receptacle in an attempt to limit further damage and leakage. The original sill still gets saturated and will soon need replacing if something is not done immediately. We must have ventilation in the attic too, as the temperature gets unbearably hot in the warm weather. I would venture to say it's probably 30 degrees hotter than the exterior. And we've considered shoring up the current windows, but they're too old, don't fit the house has a jack underneath. The window opening is not square. The window no longer fits. The windows are pegged together. I'm not saying they're original to the house, but I would bet that they're original to the house. And, I'm sure there's some warping and some deterioration. And the windows will always be a part of the house. The first thing I told Sonny when he came and looked, I said, these windows are the house, are part of the house. And I said, the first thing I want you to know is these windows will be in the attic. They'll stay here. They will be with this house no matter what we do, because they, to me, they might not be workable, but they are part of the house. Casement windows were considered, but they won't do work due to the arch. They can't, if they could open inside, it would work, but I don't think there's not a casement window that opens to the inside. The arch decoration on the outside would prohibit it from opening. Mayor Catherine suggested the storm windows, interior storm windows, but an interior storm window would limit the movability of the left hinge, the window to open and close. Awning windows were suggested. I went up and I almost minored in math, so I was going to figure out the angle, where it would hit. The sill on the exterior is 7 inches. The interior sill is 2 inches, and there's a 1-inch raised bar. So if the window took 0 space to put in, if it was like a piece of saran wrap at the angle where it would hit the arch, it would give me 2 inches, 2 inches of ventilation. And I know that the window will take a couple inches. So I think an awning window would limit, there would be no ventilation. I'm almost at the point that I need to get a staple gun and some really heavy plastic and staple it up there. But I know that would look like hell. And so right now, we, open it when we can, close it when we can.
Yeah.
So, the awning window sounded like a great solution, but, they could only go so far. And so we did settle. We considered all these things. And Sonny suggested the 4/4 double hung Andersons. And, I loved his drawing of it. It's somewhere in there. But I want to end by saying, in complete honesty, I love the windows that are there. I'd absolutely love to keep it. But the house is deteriorating, and if you think y'all care about the integrity of our house, I care about it far more than you can even imagine. Our family's always lived there, since '76. We've lived there. Ricky's done all the renovations practically himself, but now at least we can get people to do it. We've worked long and hard enough that we can ask people to do it for us. But I would love to, nothing more than to be able to keep it. But every time we have rain, I worry about it. And as I said, we were out of town this weekend, and I was so worried that we were going to have just enough with the wind from the wrong side that we're having the upstairs painted now, and I'm thinking, we're doing it too soon because something has to be done. But
Right.
do you have any questions?
Well, we feel for you because it is a beautiful house, and it's a landmark, on Colleton. One of the first houses on Colleton, probably built about the same time the Wilcox was built,
Roughly, yeah.
perhaps. We appreciate that all the different options that you've looked at, and also I can imagine being away and it raining and wondering what's going on up there. Have you all looked at just a power ventilator on the back side of the roof? that would ventilate, that would come on when it gets to a certain,
What, no,
Temperature.
to attach onto the roof. Mm-hmm. The roof is closed, the attic is closed in. So it's tongue and groove, the entire attic is tongue and groove. And it's walled, and the only place you could put it, I think it would be, y'all wouldn't like it. It would be obvious, I think.
on the back, yeah, it'd be on the back of that gambrel roof. I mean, it would be more than just one, maybe two, just an
That's not-
option.
That's not what we were, I like the open
It
ventilation.
sounds like what she's saying is the attic that she's talking about is actually a room up there and not part of the real attic. It's on the outside of that.
So it's a,
It's not heated, but it is fully
Not part-
floored, fully sided, fully roofed.
yeah,
Somebody lived up here.
Yeah, I think that there was a,
Blue that we had taken out, and apparently there was a wood stove up there.
right.
The bathroom.
there's
It's like an apartment up there.
there's a tub up there. I think it was when the house was wintered, and, I think.
It's not really an attic, it's a third floor
No, it's an attic, it's an attic.
garret,
It's-
yeah.
No, I think there was an outside bathroom too.
Yeah.
So I think that it was probably help that lived in the attic and used the outside bathroom.
Yeah.
And used the tub up there. So it was not
Yeah,
comfortable living for anybody.
But when we think of an attic, we think of exposed studs and
Yes,
insulation
yes,
and
that's
wiring
right.
and that sort of,
really,
and that's not the case, right?
That really doesn't matter. It would be more a matter of where the insulation is. I think that the
We don't have
ventilator,
insulation above, we have insulation in the
Yeah.
floor,
yeah,
but we don't, in the attic floor, we don't
the
have.
ventilator would work, it's just that probably in the winter it would get cold up there. It would be like an attic. It would be,
It stays like, that's what it is. It's
Yeah.
closed off. There's an expansion tank up there, but
Yeah.
that doesn't do anything.
yeah, I mean, that might be worth looking at depending on what other people say tonight. Any other questions?
Well, I'd like to say, Ms. Thornton, we want to protect your home, so there's no doubt something needs to be done. So we're right there with you about something has to be done. We can't continue with the damage like this.
Yeah.
Have you thought about other options, like maybe installing a fixed window and then taking and putting hinges on it so it would swing and you would get the full ventilation that you have now? Or kind of making a window? It was brought up in the work session that Marvin makes one that actually tilts and pivots, and so it would open inward and give you the full opening like you have.
I'd
You know, one of the,
be willing
Yeah.
to look at.
One of
other
the
things, but
problems-
I wanted something that would be a little easier than running up to the attic.
right,
I had it open today, and before I came here, I ran up to the attic, took the screens out, shut it, and stuffed the garbage bags up in the.
one of the problems, and I thought the sketch looked good as well, so I agree with you on that. But talking about the ventilation needs, if you go to that type of double hung window, you're gonna lose half of your opening space.
Well, that's
And
okay,
so-
at least we'd have some.
Right,
I mean,
and so
if-
if you found something that continued to pivot in, then you would have that whole space open as well. And I didn't know if you maybe would
I mean, we-
consider something else.
We considered, we want a resolution.
Right,
We want a resolution, and we want it to look in keeping with the house, and since the rest of the house is 6 on 6, that's symmetrical, 4 on 4 is symmetrical. The 2-2-2 was not
Right.
symmetrical like the others, so,
and the window you've chosen, I think, is a good quality window. There's no question about the quality of that window. I just was trying to figure out if there's some kind of way you could keep your entire ventilation, open for you.
And also, I think the most obvious difference is that this has a horizontal bar, dividing the two sashes, and the other must be a swinging, when you look at it, it's got to be a little swinging window when you see that. So the character of it,
changes a bit.
It
But, you
changes
know,
the character.
None of you would have known if I had snuck in and changed it. You would have never known. You would have driven by and thought, that's the way it's always been. I really think you would not have noticed a difference. And, we would have noticed a difference because we knew it happened, but I don't know that somebody unless they were really scrutinizing it.
Yeah.
My next door neighbor.
Well, it's on the side.
Yeah,
I mean, I agree with that. It's on the side, and it, you have to be looking up there as you drive. It's such a, I mean, this is the way most people see your house,
right.
like
coming
this.
down Colleton.
Because when you're driving by, you're right at it. You can hardly see the roof because you're so close. But that's true. It is sort of off the, off the main front facade. And the fact that you suggested, well, we could keep them, just take them down, store
I
them,
need to-
wrap them
I'll have
up.
'em. And if
Yeah.
I sell the house to you, you
Correct.
got them.
Correct. That's right. Then he can put the power ventilator.
That's right.
That's right.
I mean, I would so appreciate being allowed to do it, and we have worked our darndest since 1976 to maintain this house, and it has not been a cheap venture, and it has been over and over and over again. For years, we painted one side every year, and on the third year, we had to paint two sides. So we were painting the house was
Yeah.
getting painted every 3 years. Anybody that's dealt with old houses knows this.
Yeah.
And, but
It's such a
all I
point.
can do is just say, I beg you to please allow us to change the window a little bit, even though I'll have save the original and,
Sure.
and we need to be able to move forward with something now, or I will be happy to put plastic up there, or something, get somebody to put plastic or
Right.
something up there to keep.
So I'm not sure you understood my question, and my question was if there's another window available that does swing in like yours, you're still not willing to consider it?
As long as it'll secure and it can fit in a non-square area, I don't want to say I'm not going to consider it. I'm happy with what we talked about and decided on, and I'm happy with the way it looks like it's going to look. I've kicked myself before when things haven't worked out the way I wanted them to work out, but I really was pleasantly surprised with the way the drawing looked, and I did think it, unless you were real eagle-eyed, you would not notice a difference. People notice my house that know me. Y'all may drive by and look at it and recognize it and know it's there, but you don't know the nuances of it. But
So you are against changing to a window that operates the way you're
no,
currently
I'm
doing?
not saying I'm against it, but I want to get something done. I don't want to start the search again and 6 months from now say, oh, hot damn, we got it. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I was going to.
Is there a way that we would, you would give the chair and the director purview, good word lately, over the alternate, if there is a suitable alternate? We discussed whether you could make a window that hinged on the side, and you could make one, but it's probably going to leak too, because it's hinged on and it swings in.
Right.
Now, if there's a company that makes one that's got the weather seal around it and clamps shut, it's made not to leak. That's really what you're looking for. That's an option, guys, if somebody wanted to modify the motion. See if we could find it. Now, what do we do if we find out they don't make this size or?
See, I'm scared that, I'm scared for that because it is an odd size and anything's going to have to be custom made.
Well, if it's the Marvin window, I think most of them are custom sizes. I think that's all they, well, I won't say all their windows are like that, but most of them are.
I think I'd appreciate that. I think that would be easier to operate for me to, run up, shut the window than to, the way I'm used to now. One of them, I have to move a rack that's across to get the window all the way open and, but it's fine, but,
Okay.
I'm leaving it in your hands. I just would love to.
Well, we certainly recognize the problem and that it needs to be fixed immediately.
Okay.
So, would you look at this picture? So see that that window tilts and it will pivot just like your window does. And it's a manufactured,
Does it tilt to the bottom?
it tilts to the bottom or it
Yes, it would
pivots
have-
in.
HVAC is underneath there, so it couldn't come down too far.
I'm just saying, would you consider another window if it fit your needs, was all I'm asking.
Well, y'all are gonna determine that for me.
Well, we'd like to work
I mean-
with you. We don't want to do something.
Oh, yes.
Does it- that tilts, I know what it's doing, tilting sideways, but it's swinging in like an interior
What it
casement.
says.
Okay, and then when it tilts in, does it tilt like a hopper from the top down?
Show you the picture too.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha.
Y'all can pass it down.
Ultimate hopper, that's what it's called. Okay. Now, you may, okay. We need to figure out how far,
But it may be that, that window that I showed you doesn't come in the right size. I mean, we don't know if it'll work or not, is what I'm saying,
like it might not.
you know.
I don't know how far that comes in. Yeah, there's several, there's a casement that comes in as well. You want to look at, there's your window right there almost.
And it's an in-swing casement.
Yeah, I think the problem is that you can't make one that won't leak, but if a manufacturer makes one,
Right. And
it
you have
it would
that-
solve your problem. The other part about it is that I know you're not planning on selling the house anytime soon, but it would be nice if it were pretty close to what you had. I think a future owner would probably prefer it if it was a duplicate. Huh?
Future owner wouldn't know. I
Uh,
don't think a future owner would
well-
know. I mean, unless they saw pictures, I think they would know. I just, I mean, if y'all don't allow us to do what we want to do, we don't have to look at other options. And,
Well, we can do we can have a motion.
Lucy, did you want to see that picture?
Go ahead and have a motion. Let's see, before we do that,
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to make sure the board had a chance to review the additional comments that were received.
Right.
And we'll record those as Exhibit E.
from Betsy,
And there was a
Or-
neighbor who commented, and then the property owners submitted
correct.
some comments as well.
And then we also can ask if anyone else would care to speak, either way, for or against. I don't believe we have anyone for. Okay. We got one vote for. I was wondering how you were going. Okay, would somebody want to make a motion and, the vote?
Well, I guess I need to make a motion before we can discuss it, right? So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like make a motion in reference to application CERH 20001, that we approve a window replacement for the home in order to close up the leakage problem that we're having there and eliminate that. However, to ask the owner to research other options and have that other options administratively approved so they don't have to come back through our committee again and it can be done quicker.
Okay, everybody understand it?
So my comment on the motion as it is I would like to see sort of a time limit, so that the situation doesn't drag on, and if she can't find anything, then she can have what she wants.
I'm
How
okay
I'd
with
like
that.
to see that.
Right. I think the problem needs to be remedied, and if we
Yeah.
can't find another solution, then I'm in favor of going with the current
You want to say
suggestion.
like 10 days or 2 weeks or something like that? You want to add that to see if you'll add that to a motion.
Yeah.
Are you leaving it up to me to search out? I mean, what if I did nothing? I mean, you're trusting me to.
Right.
I mean, I appreciate that you are, but, I mean, Sonny's my window expert.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'll just have to look for other window experts to.
We can,
Well, I think you still have to come back for an administrative approval.
But if I said, I looked and couldn't find anything. Really, I was too busy to look. I mean,
we'll look,
I'll honestly do whatever I'm supposed to do.
Yeah,
But
or what if she just looks at that one window?
if you want
I
to,
appreciate the,
yeah, if you want to come back, Pamela, if you want to just, yeah, to get you on record, but we can find, I'd like to find out, do they make a replacement like that? I'd really like to know that.
Yes.
And I can do that in 24 hours.
Right, and your window expert is limited by the brands that he sells, and there are more brands out there, so your limited, your expert's very limited.
I understand.
Right.
May I ask?
Can you come forward? Yeah,
Spirit.
just give your name and address.
My name is Sonny McDowell. I live in Evans, Georgia. I'm a Home Depot Windows, install Windows specialist.
Okay?
So my question is, what is it that gives you the most heartburn about what has been proposed? Is it the extra thick horizontal mullion that a double hung provides visually? Is that what gives you the heartburn? What is it that you don't like about what was proposed?
Yeah, it's
I don't like the window doesn't operate like the original window. That's my personal objection. Or as close as possible to the original window.
In other words,
Now, I think
fully open.
McDonald has a different objection, and so I'll let you speak to
well,
that.
visually, correct. It's instead of 6 lights, it's 8, and it's got a horizontal bar. That's all.
The median.
So
Okay, we're just trying to
I
figure
look
out what
up-
problem to
Yeah, I
solve.
look up there and I see a double
think
hung
there's two
window.
problems.
And you know, you don't really see a double hung up there now.
Okay.
And again, we said before, if it's a non-contributing property, we approve all kind of windows
Right.
for ranch houses and stuff. And, but and it is, the main thing is a very nice contributing property
Right.
before 1900. And I think, I appreciate what she said. She would take the windows out and store them right there next to the opening, so somebody'd always have them. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just trying to figure, we have to
Yeah.
talk about this, and I just
Yeah.
want to make sure we understood what problem.
I'm not sure Home
we're trying
Depot's
solve.
going to have I believe what you're saying.
I'm not either, but we'll
that
talk
they-
about
that
that.
they have that. That's about, y'all have double hung windows or casements,
Yes,
but not an in-swinging casement.
not to my knowledge.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So we have a motion. I'm not sure we ever got a second. We got a comment on a motion. But you said you'd change it to
Yeah.
10 days or something.
Is there any other comments about the motion before I make another one? Chuck? Bob?
If,
Anybody?
if Ms. Thornton doesn't feel comfortable looking for the option, can somebody else look for it? for us?
Yes, yes.
Mr. Chair, staff could, since a specific make and model has been stated, staff could
Right, we
certainly
have
follow
several,
up and.
yeah, we have several windows we're going to double check.
So that's an action on our part.
Well, on somebody's part.
This side of the
Sounds,
aisle.
sounds like Ms. Thornton and Ms. Lawton need to get together and talk about it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're here to help.
So now restate your motion, maybe.
Okay. Let me get my thoughts together again. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recommend that application CERH 20001 is approved for a window replacement. However, with the stipulation that alternative windows be researched and administratively approved, and that a decision is made within in less than 30 days.
And I think the key is that it resemble the original as closely as possible. And that may be as close as possible, but we'll find out.
Right.
And therefore, but also, as a part of the motion, if something suitable that's close to what's there is not found, then she can have this one.
Well, I wasn't that specific in my motion for this reason, that the administrative approval would deal with that. Either it was the same window or a different window, that we would look for options and have it administratively approved. And so the option whether to go with the window that's proposed or a different window is really the administrative part of the approval, not the,
And y'all are telling us that it's as close as possible, so we'll go do that.
right.
Okay?
So in other words-
That may end up being as close as possible, then that'll be approved, but,
Right. But that would be an administrative approval.
yeah. And now, if y'all don't agree with that motion, you can vote against it, and then we can come back with another motion too.
Or I'll withdraw the motion if you don't like it, you know.
I'm going to second it. I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I understand what it is. Is everybody pretty, so my understanding of the motion is that there'll be a search over 30 days
Or
for a
less.
window that is as close as possible to what's there now. And at the end of 30 days, after the research has been done, administrative approval of a window will be made.
Right.
Okay, and
Yep.
if the search is futile, then this window, right?
And 30 days is the longest it'll be.
Right. And I'm hoping
Yeah.
it'll be
Yeah,
done
right.
in
Yes,
5
yes.
days.
It needs to be
Absolutely.
2 days.
I would
Yeah,
like 5
absolutely, yeah,
days.
yeah. Yeah, because I'm trying not to have you hanging.
It might rain sometime between now
That's
and 30
right.
days.
So
It undoubtedly will.
timing is of the essence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll do
yeah.
that, and Mary Catherine can get up on different window options. We need to do that, because this comes up a lot.
All right, so would you want me to change the 30 days back to 10 days?
No, 30 days is, I mean, I think that's fine.
Maximum, 30 days.
Maximum
Maximum.
30 days.
Yeah.
No later than 30 days.
No
Yeah.
later than. And
Okay.
that's what I said, was that
Yeah.
no later than 30
Okay.
days.
I didn't-
All
Yeah,
right,
that's
now we have
right.
a motion second, and I think I already asked if anyone else would like to speak. We already did that. All in favor of the motion?
I've got a
You got a
question.
question?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Are we allowed, we already authorized being administratively approving windows
It was in this motion.
just because it's in the motion?
Right. It's not a
It's
standard
not a
thing.
normal thing that we
No,
do.
it's just
No,
the specific
you're-
motion
You're
grants
sort
that.
of.
I'm looking at a
delegate-
matrix.
You're delegating, it, yeah, in this
I mean,
case.
On our matrix, it's not there.
But I hope it's pretty specific as to what the chairman is supposed to look at.
We've got we don't have a lot of latitude. We're going to do exactly what that
Okay.
motion says, yeah. We don't have a lot of latitude.
You are able to delegate that authority as a board.
You have to vote to do it, though.
If we voted.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, is that
It's
it?
not the pre-approved.
No, yeah, okay. All right, I'm comfortable with that then. And, okay, all in favor of the amended motion, raise your right hand. Okay, all right. I think we'll go to work immediately and Mayor Catherine has y'all's phone number. And does Mayor Catherine know the exact size of that window?
You'll do the research?
I'll do the research. I just need the dimensions.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you for your patience, and we're going to do the best thing for your house, and we're not going to take a long time. Yeah, good. All right, we have a next item.
Second item of, new business. Application number CER H20-002. Applicants Caitlin and Daniel Villiers request approval for updates to their home at 408 South Boundary Avenue Southeast to include the addition of a half-story and 2 porches, the replacement and addition of windows and doors, the demolition of the carport and an existing chimney, and the painting of the brick facade. And this is tax map parcel 121-09-06-007. The applicant has requested approval to renovate the main house. So this would include a vertical addition to convert the home from a single story to 1.5 story. Addition of porches on both sides of the house with new doors to access the house. And the front porch, the existing front porch blueprint would be altered to be more consistent with the new side porch dimensions. The roof will feature architectural shingles and be more steeply pitched. And the porches will have standing seam tin. And all of the existing windows will be replaced with aluminum clad windows. And there's an option requested for either 6/6 or 9/9 grid pattern. And this house was constructed in 1963. It is a non-contributing property.
Okay, and we have our applicant here.
Hi, my name's Caitlin Villiers, and I reside at 408 South Boundary.
Okay, good. I bet you're glad you don't have any windows to replace. In a historic house. Yeah, now you're, just out of curiosity, is the plan in the interior of it sort of remaining the same, and it really is just a new skin and extending the walls up?
The inside it's changed significantly. The way it is right now is sort of old style ranch where there's 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms all together, kind of a long kitchen and then a front room. So
Even the plan is changing.
that's correct.
Now, did you consider, this is not really our purview either, but did you consider demolition and then just starting over? Did that come up? I'm just curious. Sounds like you're changing the plan, and you're changing the exterior, and you're changing the roof and the
Why
windows.
not tear it all down?
Yeah, yeah. It's a good, they're,
You know, the thing is it was actually well built and
Okay.
We kind of, you know, I'm a little bit, I guess, sentimental. The people who we bought the house from were the children of the man who actually built it, and they had a lot of pride in it.
Oh, really? The father built the house that
That's
lived there.
correct.
What was his name?
Mosley, I think Robert Mosley.
Robert Mosley.
And so we sort of wanted to honor that, but
because even your windows are in different places, aren't they?
that's correct.
Right, so you're almost using
We're using the brick
floor.
facade and
Okay.
going up in the foundation. Foundation is.
I mean,
incomplete.
it's an improvement, certainly. Yeah. And so you'll do what some people do, this brick will be painted or whitewashed or something.
It'll be solid color.
So when you fill in openings there, you can whitewash over and hopefully,
That's correct. We'll
Again,
have a similar
yeah,
brick.
yeah, yeah.
match it.
Now, we talked about, I'll just jump right in and then others can do the same, but we talked about heavying up the columns on the new house. By the way, did you built the adjacent cottage there? Did you all build that?
That's correct.
And you had an architect design it?
I actually drew it.
You drew it.
Yeah.
I remember when we
I
approved
didn't
it,
draw these plans because my
but I
program was
remember when we
down.
approved
Yeah,
it.
you remember. Yes,
Yeah,
I do too.
Did you have an architect work on these?
I didn't have an architect work
House,
on them.
okay. I see it now.
So you literally designed this cottage.
That's,
It's nice.
Yeah, and I think whenever you brought it in, your idea was that the main house would be of the same style, right? When we approved the cottage.
right. And so the reason we did the 1.5 stories is because we wanted to tie the 12-12 pitch roof in. without it being still fitting within the neighborhood. So
Yeah.
if it were a 2-story with a 12-12 pitch, it would be probably one of the tallest houses on South Boundary. So that's where the half-story comes in with
Yeah.
the partial, with the,
It's a nice little cottage there, and you're getting rid of a lot of things like windows that go right up into the soffit that
right?
are not really an attractive feature on the existing house. Yeah, let's see, and now the again, with that little front porch stoop, I'm just looking again at this and the one you're proposing, the little, where is it? There it is. There's no way you can get a steep porch roof somehow. Is there steeper, like your little cottage and like the main roof? Just asking.
On the front porch?
Mhm.
Well, the front of the cottage has a little tin shed
That's a
roof
little,
coming off.
it has a little eyebrow, yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
But the main, yeah, I see what you mean
So
there.
the 312 pitch all the way around the house on the porches to tie them together.
I was just trying to think of something that would tie it in. I see that sort of the end views would be
Here,
a similar.
You know, I've got this picture that you might be interested in looking at. It's similar, and it kind of helps
Yeah.
in 3 dimension.
Mhm. Yeah, it has a few more windows, I guess, or windows and shutters. I'll pass this along, yeah. Actually, all these things are improvements to what's there, so I don't think any of these things are showstoppers. They're just, the little cottage is such a nice, first phase that,
When I kept drawing it and doing a gable end, it just didn't kind of have substance, you know. It looked like a renovation, you know. Whereas I think obviously this will be a renovation, but it's not. I think if you go by, it will kind of blend with the neighborhood versus something that looks totally different and new. So.
there's a little building in Graniteville that's maybe was the infirmary. As you come down the hill, the cemetery hill, and then you turn left, right there, it's a board and batten, obviously. It seems like it has maybe it has a porch across the front, but it seems like it has a porch like that, right in the center, that I can almost see on that, but these are just ideas to think about. Do y'all have any specific? I don't think they're really even concerns. They're just suggestions, because since it's such a major overhaul, you can do almost anything. Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, could we get the colors stated for the record? You have the
Sure.
color sample you can read?
So it'll be, the house itself will be a warm white color. And then for the trim color, I'm looking at a couple historic colors, and I would like to stay in that color palette.
And those would be for the cornice and all.
That's correct.
Yeah, can you bring them?
Yes.
Can you bring them up here? Yeah. And we'll pass them down.
So this is the house color, and then I'm looking at sort of a range here.
One of those, yeah. One of those
Like
top.
the Rockford gray.
Okay. That.
And then this sort of shows the solid. It's just using a lime wash allows the brick to breathe. So you don't get the peeling like if you painted the house with the latex.
Yeah.
So for the trim, was that an option for a couple of different colors? Is that correct?
That's interesting. That's a special paint for brick.
That's what I'd like to do right now, just because I'd like to do some samples on the actual house and see
Yeah.
how it looks.
Did you know the specific colors?
Yes, yes, I pulled 3 there.
Yeah, any other comments?
Yes, I have some questions.
Okay.
Where were these supposed to go, these colors? Are this all exterior, or
That's
what am I
correct.
looking at?
Right, exterior, so, with the idea that the trim around the windows would be a bit darker. This is,
Mhm.
really distressed,
Right,
but, just to kind of break up the white a little bit.
I got you. Okay.
Want this back to wiring.
Do we need to enter that picture? Or, I know you do this.
Was this just as,
We just passed it around.
Examples.
I don't,
The, you know, my comment about the photo you passed around is that house is really completely different from what you have drawn here. Spatially, looking at the dormers on the house you brought just with the 3D, the dormers, the roof pitch on that one is a lot less than what you have drawn here. The roof is much higher, which changes the look of the house. That house, it's spatially, the windows are spatially set out with the front door. And what we see here is you've got a lot of empty wall space without a window or anything architecturally interesting in it. So I don't think that your house is gonna look even remotely like that. My concern is, and let me say this, with no disrespect to Mr. Mosley, you know, as I've driven through the historic neighborhood, you know, all these many years, you know, I've always said, I wish somebody would buy that house and do something different with it so it fit in with the neighborhood more. So I'm tickled to death with what you're doing here in terms of changing the house.
But she's a better designer than Mr. Mosley.
Well, I agree with you. But I still feel like this facade that you, and I agree with what you've done all the way around the house, you know, and I like your ideas about the colors and the everything. I like all of them. But I feel like the facade here, that front elevation, is still not quite right in terms of proportions. I feel like you've got too much expanse of brick in there, and that some type of architectural change needs to take place. And I don't know if it's a wider porch or a taller porch or exactly how to accomplish that. I'm just giving you some feedback on, I don't feel like we're right where you want to be honest with you.
And I was just wondering if you had 4 dormers, because you have that sketch have 4 dormers? I think it did, didn't it?
Well, the picture had 3 dormers in the middle with 2 dormers on the wings.
Oh, did it? Okay. I just wondered if you had 4 dormers, could you bring that forward? See, when you ride by, you've got this huge wall there,
Right.
and then this little porch from Jim Lake's, sort of, you know?
I guess the reason we chose it is because it was the same width as the porches on the side. So as you're looking at it, it's the same width as the front is on the sides. So they're 8 feet wide. I mean, it's quite big. I hear what you're saying, and we
It's
could
almost-
draw it with an extended porch, maybe
You
double.
know, from a
width.
facade standpoint, it almost looks like the 3 windows on each side should be separated further. Such that the most inward one lines up underneath the outer gable.
You're trying to line up the dormers with that,
the dormer,
those 2
yeah.
flanking, I
And if you
think.
spread the windows out, then you feel
Yeah.
that big expanse of brick.
Yeah.
McDonald, how important
A
is
lot
it?
depends how your room arrangements are gonna be on the
Right,
inside
form
too.
follows function.
I understand
of the
that.
house.
I'm just saying from the
that?
facade standpoint.
Your elevations are drawn here with the 12-12 pitch, is that what I see?
That's correct.
And I also have a question for McDonald, because he's our architect. But, you know, how important do you feel is it to match that 12-12 pitch on the main house with the cottage? I mean, do you feel like that's something that's really important? Because I think part of the problem that I have with the facade is it's just so much roof there. You know, maybe if we could decrease the pitch, you know,
I thought the rule of dormers was that they were supposed to be a third the size of the roof, and anything above that, they look,
I don't think that's true.
It's a 1412 or something? Is that what it is?
it's
What's
12-12.
12-12 is what it's drawn.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, from the side? Is that what it says? Doesn't look like it.
If you look at the left side elevation or the right side elevation, it says 12-12 on the main body of the house. Right,
It's a larger
Right.
set.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that does say 1212, but it sure, I guess it's a 90, I guess that's a 90, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I don't think you're in danger of us voting it down. We're just
Right.
getting carried away here. If you did, that might help you line up some windows there possibly. And you've got enough roof there that you could have. Anyway, it gave you a little bit more room if you wanted to do this. But we can't make you change something that, if you,
You mentioned that the columns were gonna be beefier.
Yes, that was one thing, we were just trying to get the plans done. So
yeah.
they'll be wrapped in.
What's your ceiling height on the first floor?
Currently or?
Planned.
10 foot,
Yeah.
And the second floor?
9 foot,
9 foot.
9 foot.
Do y'all have some, is your concern about the window alignment, would that be the main one, that just the misalignment and whether that could be addressed or not?
What are you saying is misaligned?
The top three don't line up with the
You
bottom.
got a lot of brick there. Now that, you could address
Is
that
with
with,
a trellis on the wall, or like you said, tree roots?
well, maybe we ought to have a motion and a vote. This is our last item, right?
No.
No, oh, that's right.
The golf,
We better move on, okay. Okay. I think I don't believe there's any substantive issue that needs to be addressed in a motion. These are just suggestions that if somebody feels strongly about. You've got an 8-foot head height, that's important, with a high ceiling. And you said you were gonna have a little bit heavier diameter column on the
Correct.
front. But you want to try to keep that shallower slope.
Do we care about the windows?
You mean the
6
style of
over
windows?
6 or 9 over 9?
Perhaps the motion could include delegation of power for you and Mr. Planning Director to work to finalize any of those. If there are-
somebody- yeah, if y'all wanted to.
So how do you feel about the concept of I guess what the consensus here is the three, are we deciding 3 versus 4 dormers and lining up I think definitely there's consensus about lining up the windows nearest the door with the dormers, right? Yeah, how do you feel about that?
Well, it would change the floor plan. I mean, it would have to be reconfigured again.
What are the rooms you have on the other, either side of the front door?
On either side of the front door, to the left is a living room. And when you walk in, there's a hallway and this stair going up. And then to the right would be a study.
And
So
where are the walls for the study in relationship to the windows you have drawn?
that's, you know, I didn't bring the floor plan because I forgot that I didn't have to submit it for this.
Wait.
So I, you know,
Just trying to understand your problem.
right.
There's a center hall though, right?
That's
As you come
correct.
in. Can you shift the, that's the window we're talking about. Shift the window over so it comes closer to the dormer? Or add a dormer and shift them over and then you get alignment? Is there a problem with 4 dormers?
Right, so I think almost it would be easier to put 4 dormers on than it would be, I mean, I think I could shift it a little
And-
bit down.
And then you
down
don't have
low.
to move either one of them very much.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a little bit to close the gap.
Yeah. Now, the good thing about that gives you the option to do something more with the porch if you want it. Because right now, you really can't bring the peak up any, but I think that the character of that cottage and also the end doesn't get brought to the front.
So are you saying you would prefer to see it with like a gable end porch that comes up higher or a
Personally,
different
Yeah,
pitch?
personally, if you were able to, right now, the front of it, I can have a sense that, the 1212 is going to be a dramatic gable end. And I think the cottage is probably close to 1212, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
So how important is it that the cottage and the main house match in terms of gable steepness?
I think that would be a goal, would be if you just built a cottage and it really fits in the neighborhood nicely, it would be a goal to say, hey, let's carry some of that. Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, it's not an absolute.
Well, the cottage is going to have a completely different feel because of the siding, isn't it?
Yeah, but then you that doesn't mean you make the main house completely different.
I understand.
You know, it'll be different because it's brick, but then can you carry some of it around to the front? That's all. So,
Ms. Villner, so we're talking about what fits in the neighborhood. Do you have any other houses that you found in the neighborhood that kind of resemble this style that you have drawn here?
Well, there's 2 other white houses as you go down South Boundary. The Bowers house, Bauer Waters, which is towards the end. It's a 2-story brick with dormers. And then I guess
yeah, that's yours.
Rob, I'm blanking on his last name, his house is white, 2-story. So as far as, you know, a lot of house facade on the front, like long rectangular.
Do we have any photos of those houses?
I have photos of the 2 neighboring properties.
Not the houses she's referring to.
No.
Would you mind a motion that where we maybe go ahead and adjust and add a dormer to help you align your windows? And then we have an administrative review of the porch to see if you can incorporate a little steeper. Now, I don't think that any of us mean that's a showstopper, but it does give you the opportunity to.
Can we state it as an optional dormer and not make it adding a 4th dormer as an option? Because I'd like to play around a little bit and see.
See if somebody will do that.
You know, At some point, if we're voting to approve the floor plan, I'd like to know what it's gonna look like before we approve it.
We don't.
The
vote
floor
to-
plan?
We don't vote.
Well, I
to-
meant the facade. I misspoke.
Yeah, you'd like to know what it's gonna look like?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we were talking about having administrative approval on this one window, which is from the previous one, which was kind of inconspicuous,
Yeah,
but this is it's gonna be a substantial house in the neighborhood.
yeah,
Especially with the size and the height of the wall is really very high. And then, and also the height of the roof
yeah.
being a
The
12-12.
only- Yeah, I agree with you, and I think it'd be nice if we could tie down something, if we're gonna either vote it in favor or vote it down, or at least tie down the consensus on the window arrangement.
So what's your time period, what's your time constraints here?
Would like to get going on it as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
What would, okay,
If, we could call a special meeting if need be, before the next.
yeah. The two things that are sort of counterbalancing, one is that it's a new house. It's not gonna be a contributing property.
That's right.
It's a new house.
But does it fit in with the neighborhood?
On the other hand, it's a very visible location in the main residential street that's in all the magazines. So those are the two things we're looking at. So we have some flexibility because it's a new house. We could almost, it doesn't, I don't think it conflicts. These are just aesthetic rules we're going by, not guidelines for historic properties. So we have some latitude there. But you'd like some latitude even in terms of, I don't think I can make my 4 dormers work. Is that what you're saying?
I just need to look at the floor plans and see where it hits.
Yeah. You have 3 bedrooms upstairs or something?
Yes,
Okay,
2 bathrooms.
yeah. Yeah, I understand. We ought to really have people bring floor plans when
Right.
it's helpful.
That would have
Yeah.
been
Well, if you're
helpful.
remodeling everything, it is helpful.
Yeah,
I mean, this is almost like a new house. You've changed so much.
It is.
Right.
Suppose we just continue this until next meeting, would that might be the simplest thing to do? Is that, I mean, does that disturb your timetable too much?
First Tuesday of the month. No, I guess we could do that.
I mean, I think that's probably, because
better idea.
I mean, you've heard everybody's comments, and you can take that back and contemplate it, and then,
Yep.
I mean, to me, that's
that's a good
probably
idea.
easier, since
That's a good idea.
some
We
of
got
us
too
want to
much-
see the,
Too much slush in here to the it's not just a window, it's a whole house design. But I think you'll be happier when we get through.
Right.
And we may actually end up coming back and say, no, this is what, but I think we really like your cottage and we love the location and all that. So we just want you to do the, really have a,
Right.
we're trying to be helpful.
Yeah,
I
we are.
understand. I understand where you're coming from. So, if I submit plans again, if we redraw the facade, do I have to redo an application, or
No,
can it
same
just be?
application.
Okay. All right.
Did you say continue, right?
yeah, it's your description, you're doing the same thing, where you're just submitting a different elevation.
Right.
Perhaps you are. And now, we had you in, did you come to a work session? No. Okay. Yeah, these are the kind of things we do in the work session, as you heard
Right.
previously with the little girl with the ranch house. So I think that's going to be the best result, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And we will bring floor
This
plans.
is
Some revised
Excellent.
elevations.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion that we continue this to the next meeting, and we'll look at some revised elevations.
Yeah,
Second.
Okay.
great. Okay, got a motion, we've got a second, all in favor?
I'd like to see that if her schedule is such that she needs a special session, that we accommodate her.
Yeah, if she needs to move it up.
If you need to move it up from the first Tuesday in September.
Yeah, okay. I appreciate that.
That is right after Labor Day, the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very nice lot, and we appreciate what you're trying to do with it.
Oh,
Because what's
absolutely.
there now doesn't fit in
Right,
at all.
right.
I was gonna say we could donate our carport to the one, but it really wouldn't improve the,
Yeah, okay.
Very excited about your project. I'm so happy.
thank you.
Okay, we're going to vote before we forget. All in favor of continuing the application till the next meeting unless there's a need to call a special meeting, raise your right hand. And this is application 408 South Boundary Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
That little fox is the cutest thing I ever saw.
Yeah.
And I love this door. That's cute. I'm gonna do one of my carriages like that.
Okay, the third item of new business. Ready? Okay. Mr. Chairman's not.
I'm sorry.
Are you ready, Mr. Chairman?
I'm ready, and Todd is thinking, oh my goodness, what did I get myself into?
Okay, the third item of new business is application number CERD 20-001004. Applicant CTR LLC requests approval of exterior alterations at 419 Hain Avenue Southwest to include replacement of front entry doors and windows and addition of new windows at side and rear, painting the exterior and removing existing chimney and decorative columns on the facade. This is tax map parcel 105-28-07-001. This property is located in the Old Aiken Overlay District. And I'll also note that the submitted plans include a small addition at the rear to accommodate mechanical equipment. The applicant proposes replacing the existing front windows with Anderson 400 series per the grid patterns illustrated, simulated divided light, vinyl clad in black. There will be brick dividers between these new windows, and the front door and the new entry will feature a front door and transoms with Anderson series windows, 3-foot wide door, transom above and side lights. All will be clad and feature simulated divided light bars and will be black in color. And if you will please note the revised drawings submitted as Exhibit D for the record, that accurately shows the proposed entry. You'll notice the decorative columns on the existing facade, those will be removed, as will a chimney from the roof, and there will be an archway added over the existing recessed front entry. The facade will be painted Chelsea gray from the historic color palette with Stonington gray accents.
Okay, thank you. And I guess Mr. Litchfield Reed is going to come forward.
Who's going to speak on behalf of this?
Are you going, yeah, are you? He's afraid to come up.
I'm Todd Gall of Designer Builders, and I'm one of the proposed owners of this
And
property.
what's your address, Todd?
My 935 Doherty Road.
Okay. Okay,
This
do you
address is
live
for-
there? You
No,
don't? No,
My address at my office is. This
but
is
where do you, but where do
419
you live?
In Braylock.
Braylock? Okay, I think she just records who you are and.
I see. Yeah.
So if there's another Todd Gall, we don't get you confused.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I will add, though, that she has been a lot of help.
Mary Catherine,
Quickly through
yeah,
all of this stuff. It's,
yeah,
don't always get that much help with a smile, so.
I know.
Thank you for that.
you will. Yeah,
I'm just here if you have any questions. I
yeah,
think
now the
tried to submit
Chelsea
it very well.
gray and Stonington gray, we have, we're voting on that too? Do we have a sample of that?
I can grab the samples. Those are
Are they in
from our
your-
palette.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're in the Benjamin Moore, whatever they are list, okay. Okay, so the blue is gonna turn to gray. It's sort of blue, isn't it now?
It's kind of an olive green, actually.
Oh, is it olive green?
Really?
Okay. Okay,
I remember it being blue at one point.
maybe you're right, blue and white,
Yeah, it was.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and ironically, I was thinking it's not anything like the previous application, but it is in a way. It's very visible. I mean, really,
Yeah.
coming down Hain,
Yep.
so
I
it's
think
a
gonna be
landmark.
A huge improvement, with some of the windows and
Yeah.
some character and
Yeah.
better, break that up with some glass instead of just a
And you're
brick wall
painting,
with a irregular sign.
and you're painting the brick like on that previous one,
Yes.
and infilling.
With complementing colors to
Yeah.
the new two-story to the left. It's kind of a reverse of their colors.
Yeah,
Theirs is going to be the light color and then the darker gray with the, on their trim.
okay. And I can't remember where that door, the door's being put in the middle, and so, yeah, it does recess, but it's not in the middle now, is that right?
That's correct.
So you're moving it over and recessing it, okay? Mhm. And you really don't have you won't have signage per se. If you have anything, it'll be just a little address or something on the,
Yeah, on the right-hand side where there's a sign now, we haven't even come up with a name, of it, but yeah, we
Yeah.
have something. There's a big sign on that side now.
yeah,
From the photo, I think you can see all of the signage if you go back one. So you see all of the signage and up and down,
yeah,
obviously not all that.
correct.
Just something with kind of an artsy feel to it and kind of a loft concept of sort, Really want it to be extremely nice, I think downtown can handle it and,
Well,
it would be-
One of the things that the city council's interested in is increasing residential property, in the downtown area. So this fits right in with that.
Todd, what's in the mechanical room?
What's that?
What's in the mechanical room?
I think we need to have the need for a janitorial tub, just cleaning some stuff, but
Water heater maybe or something?
yeah, and really, we want to open the ceilings up inside there, so if we can have, the air handlers and stuff in that back area, and then come up, and even if there's exposed ductwork or something to make it feel right. We haven't had a lot of time to get up. There's some really crazy stuff going on above the acoustical ceiling when I stick my head up there, so once we, get that opportunity, we're right down to, our due diligence period, and, this was important, obviously, to come to you guys, so.
The only reason I asked is because I keep going, is there another means of egress? But there's windows, so.
Yeah, and that's just based on code, so
Code,
if
yeah.
it's necessary, it'll happen.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
But I've had that discussion with the building official,
yeah,
everything about it, and then he was the one that said, Todd, you need to come and do this. And that's why I'm here.
So it looks like one of your rear windows is up under the stairs?
Well, if you go to the new design, this is how it is today, let's say. But if you look at the new design on the back and in the proper.
Handout, right.
the property to the.
Yeah, the one on the bottom there. and
They're
the-
not gonna put the stairs that way, and if you could see theirs is gonna come out into their yard instead of coming down.
Oh, I got you.
Into ours, so it
Okay.
won't, because we did look at that and say, well, that's not gonna be very nice.
Gotcha,
But see,
okay.
that's what it will be like, based
Okay.
on what's been submitted to you guys.
Okay.
And then they have that big deck as well, because they own all of that property behind us.
Behind, right.
Yeah, and behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and as I've driven past this property for years, you know, I've always seen the mark on the wall where the ramp used to go up to the other property. And I've always assumed that that strip belonged to the other property. You know, because it had the ramp there, it must belong to the other property.
You know, at one time, this building, the two-story, and the one next to it was all owned by Helen, Miss Kelly, you know, for years, and so that was like that. And originally, that was a tire place, that was a car lot, and they
Right.
brought cars up there.
Right.
Up that street.
Right. So I saw your plat, obviously you own the part that you're planning on building the utility addition on.
Yeah, if you look, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't go as, we're not coming all the way to the line.
Right.
But it was enough to,
Right.
to allow that, because that was before we even saw where they were gonna put the stairs and thinking, well, they could always, the stairs are there, that's the way it is.
Right.
So we can't hinder that, so.
Right,
That's
right.
why we did it that way.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think your proposed use of the property is appropriate, given the goals of the city, and given the use that you're talking about, I think that the facade changes are very appropriate for that type of use, you know, and so I agree. I think it's gonna be an improvement over the metal columns and some of the things that we see, and it'll add the facade will add the, you know, lost my word here, but it'll look more proportional, you know, than what that currently looks with this door to the left and that sort of stuff.
That's what we were hoping for, and just kinda get that warm feeling, you know, was the intention.
Yeah, that can be more of a residential corner, that you got that
Make motion to do those.
very substantial Ryberg
Yeah, the brownstones. on the back.
townhouse building and, or flats or whatever they are. And this has never really taken off. We've had 4 different uses in the last 3 or 4 years, it seems like. So I think it'll help solidify that corner. So there's a lot of positives here. Any other questions? I will say, just making sure that you work with building officials all the time, you know, we're just an exterior aesthetic board,
Yeah,
and,
he's the judge and the jury, and what we
yeah,
can and can't
that's
do,
right, he'll
so.
have to advise you on exits
Yeah.
and all that. And probably the sprinkler gives you some latitude. I know normally it's a 20-foot dead end if it's not sprinklered, and you're gonna be sprinkling it, so probably that helps.
Yeah, I've shared this with them and the ideas
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, you'll have to get a permit from them. Okay, well, listen, we'll ask if anybody else wants to speak. I don't see anybody unless Gary wants to say something. So we'll go ahead and have a motion, and if we want to discuss more, we can, but thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, with respect to certificate application number CERD 20-001-0004, 2 zeros and a 4, I move that we approve the application as submitted.
A second.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of the application as submitted, raise your right hand. Okay.
Don't you wish you were first?
Yeah, I appreciate it. I will, just because I love problems
She
and
wouldn't have
things.
been so long.
But I got to thinking about that window. What if it was a casement window, but it was brought out to the trim so that it doesn't allow water to get down to it? So instead of the recess, you would just have a longer jamb, and then it could just crank out
You'd project it out a little bit, in other words,
that recess, but.
yeah, so in other words, and then get a round top casement maybe or something?
And he can't sell it. I went and asked him that. But I know Anderson in the A-Series makes an arch top casement. I mean, I text my salesman from Graco, and He said, oh yeah, and he sent me a picture of it.
Yeah. I think it was unfortunate that they only consulted Home Depot for their window choices is the real problem.
But I got a thing with that, you could have the same wood right there, they'll make a custom window, A-Series will make anything under the sun, push it out, and it's right there, and then it's like the J-channel around that window is just gonna be right there at the trims.
And then crank it out and crank it in.
And you could have a screen
Now,
on
you-
the inside too, so bugs don't come
You'd
in.
be pushing your sill out a little bit, right? Yeah.
Pushing the water then all the way to the
Yeah,
exterior wall too,
right.
instead of
That's,
bringing it in.
that's correct. And a lot of historic houses have that upper part projects out, and there's a little vent, or what do they call them, the little holes in there for doves? There's a.
Coats, dovecot.
Dovecot, yeah,
Yeah.
that fits into there, so that's a good idea.
Okay.
Well,
Thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks.
you're welcome, sorry to make you wait.
No, you're good.
Okay, we can, I think we're going to remind people of the continuing ed
September 17th at
opportunity
3:30.
September 17th, and we really need to do that because you'll have to come with some kind of makeup. Will that cover our time if
That
you do?
covers half of it.
Half of it. Okay, and then the next one was, you'll be letting us know about a walk through at the,
Before the October meeting,
yeah.
there will be a
Dr. Owen's
4:30
house.
site
Yeah.
visit walkthrough for preliminary certification
Yeah.
for special tax assessment at 458 Whiskey Road. So we'll talk about it
Don't know.
before then, but just go ahead and,
So you
that will
have
be an
a,
early start,
did you say you had a date now?
October 1st. That is the October
Like at,
regularly scheduled meeting
like at
day,
4 o'clock, 4:30 or something like that?
4:30.
It's the
Okay.
one that's the historical
Okay.
home back off of Whiskey that you access from Ray Lane, or what's that, York?
It's the one that you did it.
It was
worked
Dr.
on last
Owens.
month, right?
Right,
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
You don't even notice there's a little driveway.
yeah.
Right.
It's got a Whiskey Road address, but
Yeah.
it's, if you're not on the other side, you
It's the
you
one
can't
we
see it.
Yeah.
looked at last time.
No.
Yes.
Well, we looked at the application, we haven't looked at the property yet. We haven't made a site visit.
you've approved a certificate of appropriateness
Right.
for work.
For the exterior stuff. You were there, weren't you, Katie?
Yeah, I just was,
It was Weldon's.
yeah, it's, okay.
Okay.
Motion that we adjourn.
So moved. Thank you.